So this is the continuation of the first video. So I will start by trimming up the front armhole and also the neckline for the front panel. So after trimming that, then I'll trim the neck. So this is my front dress. So now to cut off the lace, all I will do is to place this on my lace fabric. So now, I will fold my fabric in such a way that it is enough to accommodate the front pattern. So then I can place my front fabric on it. And note, when you are placing your fabric, since the lace does not need a hemming part for the lower pattern because already the edges are sealed up, so make sure the edge of your fabric matches up with it. Can you see that? Then I can cut out the fabric, the lace fabric. It is advisable you pin the fabric to the lace fabric if you don't want any mistake, because you don't want your fabric moving around. So to be on the safer side, just pin it down all through, and then the lower part. And now I can cut. So now when I get to the waist area, I'll just note the area because I'm still going to do some things around that area. Then I can keep on cutting. And now I'm through with the cutting and I can remove the paint. Then we'll go back to the waist area. So now, can you see the lace? But note, here for the fabric, I have a dart of 1/2 inch on both sides. But for the lace, it is not necessary. Once you've taken in the dart on the fabric, you don't need to take any dart on the lace. So that was why I noted my waist area. So all I have to do is to remove the dart in which I placed on my fabric, which is 1 inch. So I'll take my measuring tape and then come in by 1 inch, which is here, and then take my ruler and then join it from the 1 inch back to the edge of the fabric. Can you see that? And then I will join to my hip with my hip curve. So this is my hip area. So from here I'll just take it and then I will recut this off since there is no dart for the lace. So can you see that? So after sewing your dart for the front fabric, then you can now place this on your fabric and then sew or use a zigzag stitch to tape it down before joining to the back pattern and using a bias strip to tape it all around. So now this is what it looks like. Can you see that? You can see the 1/2 inch, the 1 inch dart excesses we took out from the lace. So by the time you take in your dart on the the lower fabric, then it will match up with the lace. So you just use a zigzag stitch to stitch it all through before joining it to the back pattern. Can you see this is how it will look? So when you tape up the hemming allowance for this part, then the lace will look something like this. So and it will be so beautiful. So now let's go to cut the sleeve. So now, since I'll be making a circular sleeve, I already made a detailed tutorial on how to calculate the radius for your measurements, in which I'll put the link in the description box below. So now for my circular sleeve, now all I have to do is to measure. This is my seam allowance, so all I have to do is to measure all through. And note, if you are someone that finishes up your seam allowance before inserting your sleeve, you don't have to measure the seam allowance. But I, in most cases, fix my sleeve before sewing my seam allowance. So that means I'll be measuring from where my seam allowance for the shoulder line stops till the edge of this armhole, including the seam allowance. So this is the front armhole, so I'll just measure all through. So for the front, I have 11.5, and then for the back, this is where my seam allowance for the back armhole, I'll start measuring. So this way. So here I have 10.5. So 10.5 plus 11.5, that gives me 22. So since I have 22, so that is what I'll use to calculate my radius to cut my sleeve. So now I got 22. So that will be divided by 6.28. So using my calculator to get that, 22 divided by 6.28, that gave me 3.5. So my radius for my circular sleeve is 3.5. And in my previous video, I told you to always take out half an inch from whatever you got from your measurement. So I will be using 3 inch. So I'll be using this fabric to cut my circular sleeve, so which is enough. So I'll just cut it into 2 because I will be needing 2. So start with the first one. I will be marking on the right side because I want it to be obvious. So I'll fold it this way, like we are folding any circle skirt or any circle top or so ever. So after folding it this way, then I will take it this way. Can you see that? So then my radius is 3 inches. So I will start from here, from the edge. Then I'll mark 3 inches. Then I'll go all through 3 inches, 3 inches, and then here 3 inches, and then I'll join together. So this will be my armhole area. And then for the length of my sleeve, I want it to be 8 inches, then plus ½ inch to tape it in. So now all I'll do is to just add it to the 3 inches. So 8 inches plus ½ inch seam allowance, which is 8.5. So 8 inches plus 3 inches, 8.5 inches plus 3 inches, that will give me 11.5. So all I'll do, here I have 11.5, then I'll keep rotating it, 11.5, 11.5, then 11.5, and then I will join together. So my circular sleeve is formed, and then I will cut off. And then I'll cut off the radius also. So can you see my circle sleeve is formed? Can you see that? Can you see that? Can you see is a full circle? And remember I said if you are someone who fixes your seam allowance before putting in your armhole, there's no need to cut it off. But since I will be adding my sleeve before allowance by the side, so what I will do is that I will cut off one edge. this way, and that is it. So I will, after attaching my shoulder, then I will attach it to my both my front and back armhole pattern, and then I will sew up with the side seam, and then I will have my full circle sleeve. And that is just it on how to cut a dress with a waist dart and also a circular sleeve. If my tutorial has been helpful, just give me a thumbs up, share my video, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, you can join us on Facebook. Sewing Innovation is a closed group where we put up illustration on some questions asked about some outfit. Thank you.